For all the Jural Assemblies 49 Republic or Republican, Civil or Civilian April 21, 2019 by Anna von Reitz. As is now apparent to everyone, confusion and semantic deceits are the stock and trade of crooked lawyers. It should come as no surprise that these same devices which seek to confuse citizens of the United States with citizens of the United States and to pass off the State of Wyoming for the State of Wyoming have been employed to promote other self-interested gambits. There is right now a concerted effort to confuse republics with Republican states and to pass off the civil government for the civilian government we are owed. Most people in America are not well prepared to recognize this ruse for what it is, because the study of Latin even in the Church has been suppressed since the 1960s. However, there are still a few dinosaurs, present company included, who do recognize Latin and do have the ability to properly interpret the full one-third of our founding documents which are written in Latin. So it is up to us to clue the rest of you into the fine points. What our forefathers built and what they envisioned from the start was a republican state and a republican form of government. Please note those two letters and that are attached to the word republic. In Latin, this converts the word from the male gender to the female gender, and conveys a significantly different meaning than the word republic. With a republican form of government, everyone in this country has both rights and responsibilities. Everyone has the right to own land and other property interests. Everyone has a duty to uphold the public law. Everyone has a duty to defend our country. Our nation extends down to the poorest and up to the richest among us. We are all equal in our political status, all enabled to elect fiduciary deputies to conduct our public business, all equally protected under the public law. In a republican state, the population is organized similar to the present government of the Swiss cantons. The job of American governance begins around the kitchen table, which is the focus of power, because the ultimate source of political power in a republican state is vested in the living people and extends outward from the family to the community to the county to the state to the country as a whole. The living people occupy the pinnacle of power in a republican state, and they are what is known as the civilian government. By now you have noticed that those two pesky little letters "and" are also attached to the word civil to create the word civilian. As in the above example of republican versus republic, the addition of "and" to the word civil converts it to civilian and converts the gender of the Latin from male to female, which changes the meaning and flavor of the word. Civil can refer to any function of government that is not military, but civilian can only refer to the people, as in civilian population themselves. Thus a civil action is not necessarily a civilian action, and vice versa. Now we've looked at what a republican state and a republican form of government implies and also noted the difference between civil and civilian. It's time we looked at the male counterparts, republic and civil. You may be sure that if our forefathers had meant to establish state republics instead of republican states, they had the command of language and thought to do so. The fact that they did not create state republics and did not choose this as their form of government should raise some red flags in the minds of those who are mistakenly describing our states of the Union as republics. Americans have never had any state republics, much less have we embraced a political republic to represent our federation of states. We have never embraced democracy either, apart from the concept that everyone's power at the ballot box is equal. Those who are spouting off about a republic and state republics are either 1. ignorant, or 2. undeclared agents of the municipal government of Washington, D.C. trying to foist their foreign form of government off onto unwary Americans, using more semantic deceits. The municipal United States government, doing business as the United States, operates as a separate plenary oligarchy that is structured as an independent international city-state. It is its own separate little country plopped down in the middle of the District of Columbia, which is run in turn by the territorial United States government. This municipal city-state is run entirely according to the whims of the members of Congress. See Article 1 Section 8, Clause 17 of the Constitutions to see where this is allowed. The municipal government is inhabited exclusively by persons, not populated by people, and these persons are functioning as either 1. oligarchs with unrestricted power, or 2. some form of citizen of the United States, a corporate officer or municipal employee or dependent of the municipal government, or 3. a slave, a corporation chartered under the auspices of this separate government. Note that these are decidedly not republican states, and as separate state oligarchies under the plenary control of the members of Congress are not operating as any republican form of government either. As we saw earlier, the word civil can be applied to any function of government that is not military, and that is in fact how the municipal United States government is described as the civil government. Please note, because this is extremely important, it is not the civilian government, which is our government, to which both the civil government municipal and the military government territorial owe good faith service. It is the municipal government which has styled itself as a Roman-style republic and which has usurped outside its stipulated boundaries and functions to create for itself a shadow government of municipal states which are styled as republics and as state republics. This separate civil government, which is here on our shores providing federal non-military services, think postal service, customs houses, tax collection, etc., under the provisions of the Constitution of the United States, is the source of the oft-noted symbol of the Roman fasces, a bundle of sticks, that appears around the federal capital and on various seals and emblems associated with this element of the federal government. Unfortunately, the members of Congress elected by U.S. citizens and citizens of the United States have gone into business for themselves, while we, purportedly anyway, have been absent. This false claim against our government of the people, for the people, and by the people, has been promoted using the excuse that the original states of states serving our states of the Union ceased to function after the Civil War. We can answer this easily enough by saying, so what? Our states of the Union have never ceased to function, and as the source of all the delegated powers that the federal government ever exercised, our states are competent by definition to take over and run any aspect of government that is otherwise unfulfilled, federal, state, county, or otherwise. The current attempts by the municipal government and its undeclared agents to promote their republic as a substitute for our unincorporated United States of America and to promote their state republics, which are merely foreign commercial corporation franchises, as a substitute for our republican states, is at best attempted international commercial fraud and at worst open treason against our lawful government and against the constitutions we are owed. This is especially concerning as regards the issue of citizenship. Those serving the federal government and their dependents have always been afforded dual citizenship with the intention that those Americans providing federal services would be able to retain the protections of their American state national status at the same time that they worked as either United States citizens or as citizens of the United States. Unfortunately, many members of the current federal government branches have abused this generous arrangement to adopt totally foreign citizenship obligations. Some consider themselves dual citizens of the territorial and municipal governments. Others, like many members of Congress, have styled themselves as municipal government citizens and citizens of entirely foreign countries. Many Democrats and some Republicans function as citizens of their plenary oligarchy and also citizens of Israel, Monaco, England, and so on. As such, these people are expatriating themselves from any association with our states and our lawful government, placing themselves outside of our constitutions and our public law, while still pretending to be our representatives and to have our permission to charge their expenses against our credit. This allows them, at least superficially, to operate as foreigners immune from prosecution on our shores. But please note, this sword cuts both ways. At the point they violate our public law, they are simply foreign criminals on our shores, like illegal immigrants, subject to international arrest warrants and detainment. They are owed no protection under the constitutions, and owed no loyalty, as they have betrayed their own country and their countrymen alike. Also to the point, as their actual political status was not disclosed to those voting in the corporate elections, they need to be deprived of office and have their elections overturned. Remember that they work under contract, and for a contract to be binding, it must be fully disclosed. Bottom line, educate everyone as to the current effort to confuse our republican states with their state republics doing business as states of states, incorporated states, and to confuse our civilian government with their own civil government, which is a foreign subcontractor on our shores. They are trying to usurp authority from our missing federal states of states, and from our actual states of the Union, and once again, they are using semantic deceit to try to accomplish this, deliberately promoting their foreign republics and their civil government as if these were our republican states and our civilian government. Refuse to be confused and do not support any of these charlatans in their con game. Educate all Americans and spread the word.